Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to second round MPO lead card coverage of the 2020 Texas State Disc Golf Championships here in Tyler, Texas. BigBarri commentary, Jeremy Koling, joined by the Yules.
That's me. Let's get into this grip sick low profile breakdown.
And let's say happy congratulations to Evan and Sabrina Gerthy for getting married today. Never mind those C1 stats for Casey White. He also was 100% scramble, 10 under par. Chris Dickerson also perfect putting in the circle, 61% birdie percentage. He shot a 9 under par in the first round.
Joel Freeman, -9. 100% circle one. That's the key out here. 78% fairways hits will do you justice as well.
And we're on to hole one, the ever so challenging par 3, 474 feet to start off this incredibly technically challenging course, the Dogwood course at Lindsay Park. Most players are going to go for the high flex play, either the wide hyzer route or maybe just going straight at it with a little bit of anhyzer, but trying to get over top of these trees and just get somewhere down here. A birdie on this hole is so rare. Most people are just going to get down there, leave themselves with like an 80-foot jump putt.
From Charlotte, North Carolina, Jeremy Koling.
You trying to get any flex on this or straight hyzer the whole way?
I'm going to go with the 2021.
Congrats, Evan and Sabrina Gerthy, for getting married today.
Oh, I said it there too. I'm going with a Halo Star Destroyer, the Calvin Heimberg edition, and I'm going to go with a little bit of anhyzer, but mostly just trying to play stall out wide.
Be clean.
And didn't quite get through. Let's take a look at Casey White.
My name is Casey White. I'm 21 years old and I'm from Shirley, Massachusetts. I worked for my dad growing up. He owns a plumbing business, but he would give me whatever time off I needed to go play disc golf. So whoever was willing to drive me to the disc golf course, that's how I got out. And then as time went on, I eventually got my license and I made more friends, and I was playing tournaments anytime I could, and I was playing league nights every weekday. And in 2018, I actually placed in my first ever Pro World Championships. I got 28th place, and in round 3, I shot one off the hot round, and I was only 18. And at that point, I knew that I had the capability. It was just a matter of consistency. And then after COVID in 2020, I hit a couple events with Simon. I stayed on tour when he went home, and then I ended up winning a tournament in Minnesota. And if I would have never stayed on tour, I would have never got that win. And after that point, I knew I was there to stay. And nowadays, I travel the country with my girlfriend in our van and just living the dream as far as I'm concerned. Before I get to the course, I usually don't spend an hour warming up before my rounds. I just make sure I'm stretched really good, make sure my putt is feeling good, and I make sure to give myself a couple reps from different distances. I feel like if I spend too much time warming up before my round, I might waste a lot of my energy that I could be using for productive use on the course. Just make sure I'm loose and I'm not gonna go hurting myself when I start the round. I met Simon when he came to Maple Hill in 2017. He had no idea who I was, but I knew who he was. And then the following year, after the World Championships, when I played well, that was kind of when he figured out who I was and he started to know my name.
The #1 rated player in Massachusetts. Of course, only before I moved here, but no one knows that. What's your rating right now?
996.
Are you happy with that?
Not yet.
Are you gonna be better?
In New England, we have like a winter league, and we played on a card together, and I just told him that I had a course at my house, and if he ever wanted to film a video, we could film at my house and maybe do an ace run video or something like that. So he told me he was going out to try and film a 600-foot ace and asked me if I wanted to come, so I was like, of course.
I'll see you later. Goodbye. What do you mean? That's not good? No. Short? So. It didn't feel good. Maybe it's in. Who knows? Let's go! Dude, what?
And then I just happened to be the one that hit that shot, so whether I wanted to or not, I felt like after that point I was just a part of the vlog, and we just started filming together regularly after that. Definitely, I have been very attentive of how he throws certain shots, and just being around somebody of that throwing capability for that much time. I mean, there's a lot of angles and disc shots that I see Simon throw that you wouldn't see out of very many people at all in the entire world. So he hasn't taught me anything. I have taught myself by observing and watching him closely. Dogwood is very similar to one of my home courses back in Massachusetts. It's a very long, tight wooded course, and just staying in the fairway and making sure you're not taking that many bogeys is very crucial, and just staying in it, getting pars and taking birdies when you can. The disc I lean on the most out here is the Color Glow FD Night Strike, my Exo Hard Method a ton, and my Soft Tactic, because those are the best scramble discs for me, and I feel like everywhere on this course, if you're not in the perfect spot, you're either scrambling or putting. Yesterday, I shot the best round of my career. I had the highest rated round I've ever shot. Today, it doesn't look like the conditions are going to be quite the same. It looks like a little breezy and maybe some impending rain, so I hope that that'll hold off, and I hope that I can post another score pretty close to what I did yesterday.
So there is your first real good look at the youngster from Massachusetts. Ton of game.
Casey White.
And a ton of heart.
And a ton of under pars at 10 of them.
Yeah, and that was bogey free, so he had exactly that many birdies in round one, and bogey free at the Dogwood course is a tall task.
This needs to get inside or up. Inside, yeah.
A lot of limbs you can hit at that height.
Next on the tee from Limestone, Tennessee, Chris Dickerson.
Next up, we've got the Limestone Laser, Robot Chicken himself, Chris Dickentenders. Looks like he's going to be playing a slightly more inside up and over route with a clear disc, so there's no way that anyone can see this, but it's heading down the fairway and off to the left side.
Great shot. Got a long look there for the birdie. Totally makeable, though.
And Joel Freeman, this is a guy I'm really excited to have back on tour. He didn't...
Only throwing yellow and red discs.
Yellow and red discs only, yeah. Before we knew, obviously, that COVID was coming, he was already planning on not playing in 2020. He got married and decided to put his focus into that. And I wasn't sure if we were going to see him back on tour, but this guy has a ton of game.
Yeah, any way you look at it. Backhand, sidearm, putt, touch, power.
Nice.
Lucky.
It got that going, too. I mean, man, that's the full quadfecta.
This looks like his little brother.
Casey leaving that just a bit short. Had to start off with a 50-foot putt in round one on this very hole to save the par. This time it'll be a bit shorter. And Joel wants none of that action there. Such a scary putt onto this green. I mean, the hole's already so difficult, and then you get down to the green, and it still slopes away from the basket.
I said Dickerson had a putt, but this looks like he's doing a back stance throw at it.
Yeah, he does try to make those, but he has a good touch, and he can make it look like he's laying up, but he's not going to go that far past even if he has the right height. And that's a good par putt there for Casey to start the round off. And it'll be easy tap-ins for the rest. Moving on to hole 2. There were 3 birdies on hole 1. Kevin Jones did it in the first 2 rounds. Calvin Heimberg, Ben Callaway. Obviously, those 3 players can throw the disc a country mile. Not surprised they give themselves looks, but Kevin Jones starting with the birdie on 1 both rounds. That's incredibly impressive. Hole 2, par 3, 300 feet. Did not mention yesterday that Kevin Kiefer aced this hole, and I felt bad for not giving him a shout out, so now you got your shout out, sir. Very difficult hole. There is a winding creek down the middle of the fairway. Any errant tee shot going through this middle gap here is in danger of going out of bounds.
Again? Safe though. That's lucky.
Very fortunate to be safe, but that right side is very, very treacherous.
Definitely cuts away the angle that you have from the tee. You have that nice big wide open, well, it's not big, but it is pretty wide open right there.
And Casey also hitting a tree, kicking towards the creek, staying safe. Very fortunate. See if Dickerson can make the correction.
Back door.
Oh, wow. Doesn't hit a thing.
Love it. Yeah,
That-
so far a lot of good breaks on this hole.
Yeah, that was living clean. Joel with good angle, maybe too much speed.
No, that's bad luck. That was looking good.
I like the height on that one. The stability was looking like it was going to start fading, but just throwing a little too fast for the fairway. And I'm telling you, there's not much there. Now there's even less.
Is that an OB?
Yeah, that's straight right into that creek. Now you're going to have another tough up shot just to save the double.
I'm going to put it as simply as I can, Paul.
Okay.
That sucked. It just not a good start.
No, tough start for sure.
And this was my one blemish in round one, bogeying this hole. And like you said, a pretty tough approach. Just missing that tree that's 30 feet short. Last thing I wanted in that situation is a 30-foot putt for 5. Joel staying on his feet. A little bit of a slip there. 3 of these shots already right on the edge of the creek, and it is kind of slick over there. So, and you mention this all the time. The best players in the world, when they get a good break, like Chris did going through that back door, the skinny trees, and getting all the way up to the circle's edge, they make that putt. They take advantage of that opportunity.
There's another good little
Save.
putt from Casey. Nice save.
Yeah, good scramble. And once again, he is bogey free still thus far in the event.
What's the point of the upside down? Just for fun?
Yeah, Joel was putts upside down from 15 feet and in, I found out. He likes to do it just to avoid sped outs, and he's just always done it. Hole 3, par 4, 564-foot, slightly left-turning tee shot. The gap that you're going through right now is blind from the tee, and you want to land right about here, which sets up the dogleg left-turning approach shot over this out-of-bounds creek, and just a few trees up there on the green to make sure that you really keep that approach honest. Those little trees, if you hit those, you're left with about a 35-foot putt, which can be kind of frustrating if you do execute the tee shot well.
If you throw this perfectly, you land on the wood chips,
Look at
you're
Chris.
actually still going to be scrambling.
Chris goes mid-range, backdoor again, 2 holes, not one single tree hit.
Living dangerously and
Yeah.
also living right.
Yeah, Casey was calling for the Chris Dickerson route, and that's one of those situations where you'd rather be off by 2 feet than 2 inches.
Money, maybe?
Just
Oh, wow.
a bit outdriven, just like hole 2. Good line, just a bit faster, a bit slower. That would have worked, I should say.
A bit too fast on
A
that
bit too-
right side.
correct.
Right side, yeah. I couldn't take the break that it wanted to make that left-hand turn. Got there a little too quick.
Just, that felt so good out of the hand. But just a bit too turned over, and that will be in that scramble zone that you were just talking about.
So you're in the fairway.
Yeah, I'm in the fairway, exactly. And actually, this approach shot to get there, which Casey executed perfectly, is quite difficult.
You and me, Joel.
It's very touchy. It's not that long, but there's enough trees in the way that it's really, you have to pick a gap and commit to it.
Through it. There we go.
And those are pretty much exactly where you want to be. So still a little bit of work left, but that should be easy pars for Casey and myself.
Going with a tomahawk or a sidearm roller.
Trying to go with the flick roller. He said the dangerous words right before he threw that. Well, this worked in practice.
Oh, boy.
It's like you'd never say that right before you throw a shot like that.
Beat it. Oh, well, yeah.
Yep. That's going to be an easy birdie for Chris.
I saw a guy on my card skip all the way over the creek today.
On the tee shot?
Yeah.
Oh my
Who was that?
Kevin Kiefer, the ace man.
The ace man. Wow. What a...
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was just shizzle shanked, as we sometimes say.
Shizzle shanked.
I just botched the approach, and I missed it by so much I got lucky and got all the way through.
Did we get two? You're on the mic now and mic'd up in the round? Nice.
Lucky you. And right before the round, Paul, you had asked me, what's a dogwood tree? That's a dogwood tree.
That thing just ate that disc right up.
That's the official tree of North Carolina. I'm very familiar with dogwoods. Very pretty tree. Joel's hoping that errant shot doesn't cost him. He's got a long putt for the par.
Oh, wow.
And never had a chance.
Wow, 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 wow.
Heard they have a little bit more bark than their bite. Those dogwood trees.
You made a dog pun about a tree. That's
Tough to do.
It's tough to do. It is tough to do. And Joel doesn't need to beat himself up over that bogey. I mean, he's had a long shift at McDonald's before he came out here, and going straight into a round of disc golf, it's not an easy thing to do. It's a long day. And that's the last outfit joke I'll make for the day.
As you're wearing a cotton candy suit.
I mean, I've already got a double bogey. I get the opportunity to get loose.
Some McDonald's, some cotton candy for dessert, and some blueberry pie from...
Chris Dickerson stole the tablecloth off the barbecue, wrapped it around his body for the shirt. And that's the last outfit joke. We're going to be done with those now. Moving on.
You guys are all looking good.
Well, the game's changed, man. Got to look good. On to hole 4, par 4, 474-foot hole they call the knee. Makes sense because it starts to bend right here from the thigh down to the calf, and it turns 90 degrees right. Players are going to want to throw an overstable driver sidearm most likely, maybe even a putter anhyzer, but you don't really need a lot of distance. If you throw too fast, you're going to outdrive the fairway and you're going to be stymied on the left side. Chris going with his H1.
I feel like everybody's probably going sidearm on this one. There's one. Let's count them. There's one sidearm from Chris Dickerson, and it's in a pretty good spot. He'll be able to lean out for another sidearm, which would be 2 on the hole.
Count Palcula over here.
And here is Casey White with a sidearm.
That's 2 sidearms.
Yeah, and he might have a backhand from there, actually. Here's Jerm throwing number 3.
3 sidearms.
Perfectly.
I don't think so, actually. That's a bit
A
long.
little bit of a lean out sidearm.
Lean out sidearm.
Yeah. That would be 4.
4. A lot of sidearm play.
I felt like this came out a bit hot, but
Well, it did. Yeah.
actually stopping there opens up the fairway, the angle much better. So not the worst thing in the world. I think that if that had remained clean through its flight, it would have been in a lot worse shape than that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was fortunate. A little misrelease to the left, but gets a nice little kick. That'll probably be the only backhand we see.
Chris going standstill P model US. And a little kick to the right, but that got most of the way there. And pretty short putt to get 3 early birdies in a row here.
Yeah, I've seen him putt. He's pretty good.
I agree with that.
This is a little too stable. It's going to need to get that backside kick.
Anything.
and-
All
Yeah, 40 feet.
I'll need to
45 feet.
have to clarify in a second.
So because I didn't hit anything, I do actually have that weird line where I've outdriven the fairway by about 15 feet or so. And somehow couldn't fit a flick roller through that huge gap. So it'd leave me with like 95 feet or so.
Pretty good run, though. Right on target the whole time. Just a little more height required for that one to count as 3 strokes.
I thought that Casey was going to draw metal just a bit short.
I mean, fool, I thought you were at least going to hit no.
Oh gosh. All right, there's the double commentary. Sorry.
I have a feeling that he's going to draw metal.
You'd be right, my friend. That is a great putt from Joel after the misrelease for his par putt on hole 3 to just come back right after that and give that a great run and a good birdie.
Beautiful putt.
So Chris, he'll have about 30 feet. And he is in and true, and the 2 players who maybe missed their drives the most had the best approaches and the best putts and were able to collect the birdie. I don't really know if Chris really missed his drive. I think he did hit a tree and it ended up where it was, and he did a good job from there and was able to start off with a great start. Now he is in the lead. He has got 3 straight birdies. Moving on to the ever so difficult hole 5. This is the hardest hole on the course, averaging nearly a half stroke above par. Players are going to want to go with a backhand turnover to fit through this gap the widest possible angle, but there's also a forehand play that could potentially stand up and get through everything. But it really is just, you're kind of rolling the dice on this one. It is a very difficult, very rewarding too. So Chris going with the same disc and nose right out of his hand. That came out too fast. And that is going to show the scramble game for Chris there. That is a very tough spot to be.
Joel going with a mid-range here, or is this a... Yeah, mid-range it looks like. Oh boy. That's tough over there, but he did catch a second tree. The farther right you go, the worse it is. You'd way rather be right or left on this hole than right.
And Casey just not necessarily trying to throw the shape to get down there for the birdie, just hitting that initial gap and just kind of breaking this hole down into 2.
Not a bad play, honestly, breaking that hole into 2. It's kind of my play as well. Is throw something pretty overstable to hit that first gap and then maybe get a little lucky at the end. But this was a just gorgeous little approach from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was the first First shot of the round that actually went the way that it was intended to go. So that was nice.
Little 180 footer went your way.
Yeah.
Look at this.
You can downplay that
about,
shot.
Talk about a not hitting much again. Chris pulls that a little bit, and he's going to have a look. And the good thing about his look is there's a ditch right behind there, and farthest away it can really filter is about 35 feet, I feel like.
Yeah, on the scramble, you keep that in mind for sure, that there's really like the worst case scenario if you hit the gap is that you go long and that ditch just kind of collects your disc. So it gives you full reins to just get pretty aggressive on this next shot. And we're going to see Joel Freeman go with a patent pending stance with a very scary gap. And look at this.
Are you kidding?
Wow.
I mean,
God.
And there's that little run. Like I said, you can just kind of give it a bid and then land in the bottom there and then make a little putt. But you still have to make a little putt. I mean,
that would have been one of the par saves of the year with that shot. If he rings that up, I mean, that's just an incredible effort. A bit of an awkward stance, having to stand on the side hill. 25 feet, and that is in.
You reached for your mini, dude. That's hilarious.
No way I'm going to reach that.
Just
Standing straight up, reaching for the mini. Good putt.
just his instinct to go down and grab the mini, and then he realized the mini was, his lie was a foot below his foot. Sounded wrong saying it.
12 inches below his foot.
That would have been better, yeah, sure.
We'll just do it next time that somebody has a weird stance like that.
You'll just take it?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 pars and 2 bogeys. That's a pretty typical score on hole 5. On to the much easier and forgiving hole 6, par 3, 243 feet across the creek. The hole that earlier in the day was aced by none other than Jake Hebenheimer himself. This requires a slight bit of ante with a backhand to flatten out and go towards the basket. There's also the forehand play or whatever you can muster up to just to go straight.
That'll work right there.
And using the backboard.
Little love, yeah. But just hitting that gap is really what you want. Take a putt from anywhere you get.
Just avoid the disaster of going out of bounds.
Bad little kick, but you'll be able to manufacture some sort of look.
Yeah, that right side of the green can get kind of iffy with those trees. There's a bunch of them over there. And Chris, that hits an inch left of that where it hit. That's back in the creek. But kicked somewhat forward and has an outside the circle look for the birdie.
Beautiful. Wow, that is just good.
Great touch. A bit long, but he's been putting well.
Yeah, after that first little mishap, this guy's been putting well for about 10 years. Well, no, he hasn't been playing 10 years.
No, I don't think he has, but he's been playing well and putting well for...
Seems like 10 years.
It's been a while, yeah.
You've been putting well as well.
Yeah, I still haven't technically missed a putt this tournament.
Let's go. What a little tester to get your round going. You've had a slow start, and that goes a long ways right there.
Yeah, from that angle, not that it really matters, but there was a tree right in the middle of the basket, so that was nice to get it over and around, play the hyzer, and it dropped in nicely. And as we move up to Casey White's short putt for birdie, it's looking like we're going to have a nice little star frame here for the lead card. And it looks like Casey will be getting his first birdie of the round.
Wow.
Yep. So that brings him to 11 under.
Gives a little fist pump to Big Bro.
Yep. And he likes the charitable donation to To edgediscgolf.org, he mentioned it after that putt went in. He was like, charity. It's a cool feature that people will get used to now. Hole 7, par 4, 420-foot right to left turning shot. Players are going to throw a backhand hyzer with something that may stand up a bit, but maybe you're just trying to make the corner. Also, forehand and hyzer can get you really far up the fairway. It shapes well for both. The rough is very treacherous, though. Very important to keep this down the middle. Casey pulls that one right and kicks right.
That's a mistake that I see a lot of people make, is just pulling it a bit. That's actually a fortunate kick to go to right rather than left, because then it really pinches you off from the gap that you need to hit to get into position to save your par. This, on the other hand, is in prime position.
Going with the Eagle L turnover, and got a fortunate kick to the right that was a bit inside, but that's the landing zone that most of us are looking for. Chris going with his trusty FX2, and I like this play. Look at this. There's nothing fancy, just a hyzer.
Nothing fancy about it. Just placement, 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 throw it to 30 feet, and then make it.
It does tempt you into going with that flip up play. So it's nice to see that he just wants to get around the corner, isn't trying to get a ton of distance.
This guy wants to get a ton of distance.
And
oh, whoa.
Joel going with a Thunderbird, and that must be an incredibly flippy Thunderbird, because that thing held turn fantastic.
Let me guess, that was an FX2.
And a good point that you mentioned, getting kicked to the right does allow a throw, but yeah.
Yeah, probably the swing was kind of, he's probably handcuffed over there in like a stance where he couldn't swing properly.
That's going to be left, yeah. Accomplished your goal. If you go left.
Hard to truly break down how bad that was. I mean, it went forward.
And it's in the circle-ish.
Yeah. Not as good as that.
Clinical. Hyzer, straight putter, I'm done.
Very impressive to see. I mean, Chris on those little approach shots gets a ton of spin for a shot that is only going 130 or 140 feet. It's not easy to control that.
Jump putt?
Yeah.
Eagle?
When you drive it that far, that is the benefit.
Would have liked to see it a bit higher, maybe give it a little bit. You had to stretch out pretty far here. Misses it a little left. Hopefully it sits down. There is a ditch to the left there. Did sit down.
And that par isn't on the putt, I don't think. I mean, I gave myself a very tricky putt, straddle as far as out to my right as I could. Still had a tree in the way. That par is 100% on the botched approach. So that's one I need to take from and learn from it on the next time I have an approach shot from that distance.
Yeah, especially with little easy up shots. I mean, it gets to a point where you think it should just be brainless and you just kind of get up there and do it, and then all of a sudden if you don't go through your fundamentals, you can pull it just a little bit or early it just a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're like, why did I do that? Like, this is so routine, but you don't go through your routine.
No easy shots in disc golf. Can't think of it that way. Hole 8, par 3, 400 feet, and if there aren't any easy shots in disc golf, this belongs in the category as one of the hardest. This one is a very, very tough hole that moves right to left. I mean, what else can you say about it? There's 3 or 4 gaps that are about 7 to 8 feet wide. And the second and third version of those gaps are blind.
A little too much turn, but he hits the initial gap, gets down to the ditch, and that's what everybody's main goal is to hit that initial gap.
Yep.
Hopefully you get all the good stuff after that, but if you don't, par is good on this hole. all of these guys on this card have the capability of throwing this sidearm all the way to the pin, though, which is the pure line.
Joel going with a Sidewinder, which I thought that was a somewhat slow disc to get a forehand 400 feet, but that was moving nicely, just didn't quite hit the line perfectly. And Casey kind of fortunate and unfortunate at the same time to miss the early trees, but just find himself behind a bunch of others.
That's a lot of trees.
That is not easy. Going with my Star Wraith.
Oh my gosh, Jerm. Go forever.
Fortunate
What
first
is going
kit,
on, man?
but then you hit, kind of go down. You will have a
Oh, boy.
standout flex play.
I got
some sort of.
my mini's over my right foot. This is a very, very awkward shot.
That's amazing.
I'd say that's almost better than any of the shots I threw in my first round. Like that, I did not have a difficult shot at that level of difficulty in the first round. So that was
Pretty fortunate for KC as well.
Yeah, he ended up in a pretty decent spot. He was pretty disappointed that he didn't do better with that approach. And now he's in danger of his first bogey of the tournament if he doesn't make that putt from about 35 feet.
Free run here. It is uphill, so
Yep.
not a lot of danger unless you hit low or high.
And
And he gets it past the basket
Yep.
with the right height. I mean, at that distance, I know that a lot of players, the highest caliber, I've talked to them, if you have the right height and you can get consistent at the height, you'll get a lot of those to eventually fall. And like you said, he had a little tester and he finally missed one to have his first bogey of the tournament. Insane save from there.
take a little bit of that sweat off the head and flick it off, because that was looking like a for sure bogey, and kind of feels like after the errant drive on 5 and on 8 to walk away with 2 pars, those kind of felt like you can maybe draw some momentum from them, maybe even treat them like they're birdies in a way, because you're the same thing. You're just saving a stroke is all you're doing. So only one casualty on hole 8. I mean, a surprising number of birdies on this hole. It's 7 players able to pick up the 2. That's pretty impressive that many people are able to hit that line. It is very difficult. Hole 9, the last one here on the front, and then we are halfway through this event. Hole 3, par 3, 351 foot, fairly wide fairway for what we've seen so far in the round. Still got the low ceiling to contend with. It goes slightly up a hill, and then the last half of the fairway, it goes slightly downhill, and this pine straw can be very forgiving and get you a nice slide all the way up to the pin. Chris pulling that one a bit left.
Could get lucky through there and get a little look, but that's going to be tough.
Yeah, he got pretty much all the way down there until the very, very end, hit a little tiny thing, but he's still putting. Joel pulling this one right and getting a hard kick left.
That's going to be a pretty tough lie. It's low ceiling over there. There's also a pine tree with some big branches that hang down low and makes it kind of difficult. Probably like some sort of little hyzer flip or sidearm roller. And you didn't throw that too good.
No, I didn't throw any of them too good, Paul. That's
The last shot on the last hole wasn't, the second to last shot on the last
tee
hole
shots,
was phenomenal.
That is a 9 consecutive bad tee shot performance here on the front 9.
A new world record.
A new personal best and world record, correct.
This is brilliant.
Yeah, look at this ride the hillside, getting a little left or right kick as well. Weren't quite sure where that thing landed from the tee when we got up there and saw how close it was. That was pretty impressive.
Here's that low ceiling skip shot. He's going
Look
to
at
love
that.
that. Yeah.
That is awesome.
I'm excited to see what Chris Dickerson has for us. Oh, you actually have a little look here. Keep it up. Oh, just to the right side.
Yeah, I thought I might have drawn change with that one. That one felt pretty good out of the hand, but nope. Chris, a little jump putt. I mean, the guy's just a robot, guys. He is all functions are computing.
That was right kind of in the middle of the middle.
Oh, absolutely.
6 birdies and 1 bogey on the front 9, bringing him to 5 under. I mean, kind of walking away from the card at this point. Casey is going to have this easy short putt for birdie that will bring him to 11 under par, but that will just be 1 under on the front 9.
Good save from Joel.
Yeah, what an approach that was.
He'll be 1 under on this 9 as well after this. Upside down. Huh.
It's
Strange guy, that Joel.
He is a character, but he is a very talented character. And taking a look here at the leaderboard, and Dickerson does have a 1-shot lead, but not on anyone on the lead card over Ricky Wysocki, and Matt Oram is jumping up there with a solid front 9 himself. Calvin Heinberg, Macbeth, Matt Bell, Conrad, the usual suspects we call them. And so the action is getting tight. Obviously, we expected that, and we are officially halfway through the 2021 Texas State Disc Golf Championships here in Tyler. Thank you to the Founders Club. For Paul Ulibarri, Jeremy Koling, we're out. We'll see you soon.